You're watching Today right across Australia. Great to have your company. Senator Jacinta Price has delivered a fiery speech at the National Press Club, taking aim at the Yes campaign and making controversial remarks on colonisation.
There's no ongoing negative impacts of colonisation. I guess that would mean that those of us whose ancestors were dispossessed of their own country and brought here in chains as convicts are also suffering from intergenerational trauma. So I should be doubly suffering from intergenerational trauma.
Joining us to discuss ALP President Wayne Swan and Nationals Senate Leader Bridget McKenzie. Good morning. Nice to see you both. Wayne, to you first up. What did you make of those comments last night?
Bizarre. This story didn't begin 42 years ago when Senator Price was born. It goes back to 1788. And I grew up alongside Indigenous communities, and she is denying their lived experience, the experience of the stolen generations, the experience of lost wages where people weren't paid. There's been a whole lot of traumatic experience over a long period of time, which has left a legacy that the country has to deal with. The fact that she chooses to deny it says more about her than that story.
Bridget, it's been a messy and pretty divisive week, I reckon. Some of your team are partly responsible for that as well. How did you see Jacinta's comments?
Well, I thought Jacinta was just stating a fact, and her lived experience was very much part of her speech yesterday at the National Press Club. She had her mother, Bess Price, there, who has come from quite a traditional cultural background to end up being a Minister of the Crown in the Northern Territory Parliament, and her father, who's obviously of Scottish descent. So I think the comments that Jacinta made were very powerful, they were authentic, they were uncomfortable truths in many parts. And I do agree, Carl, that we do have to have a respectful debate, and this week we've seen not great comments, particularly from some of the commentators, but I'm not going to participate in that. I want to participate in this as someone that believes in reconciliation and recognition, but is a very respectful no to the constitutional change. I don't want to add to that disrespectful
Wayne, the
conversation.
more heat that comes into this, the less likely I reckon Australians are going to engage in it, which makes the Yes campaign even more difficult. It's going to get towed up, isn't it?
Well, it's a difficult campaign, and history shows that when a political party, a major political party, opposes a proposition, it makes it very difficult to pass. That's just a fact of life, and it's been like that for a long period of time. I hope we can have a more respectful debate, but I don't think yesterday's contribution helped either.
OK, moving on, the Transport Workers Union is seeking compensation from Qantas for membership fees lost from the airline's illegal sacking of almost 2,000 workers during the pandemic. The TWU fought this really hard all the way to the end. Wayne, given all of this, how were Qantas workers and the unions with Albo getting so cosy with Alan Joyce?
I think the Qantas unions and the workers had the full support of the federal opposition, including the Prime Minister, right through this whole process. Qantas has been found to have acted illegally, and in fact it has stolen the wages of thousands of people for a long period of time, and I'm very pleased to see that there's going to be some compensation paid for this atrocity.
But didn't sting at all, the workers?
No, the workers had the full support of the Labor Party from day one.
No, but I just mean the PM cozying up to Alan Joyce.
No, you can assert that. I don't accept that. It doesn't make
Come
it
on,
true.
Swanee.
It doesn't make it true because you say it, Carl.
They were in a bromance. Bridget, there's plenty more heat to come for the national carrier. When does the inquiry start? When are you going to get on with that?
Yeah, we agreed on our invite list yesterday as a committee, so we'll be starting public hearings on Tuesday. We will be calling the former CEO, Alan Joyce, the current CEO and the chair, Richard Goyder and Vanessa Hudson, and a whole raft of other entities involved in the aviation industry, because Australians obviously need an aviation industry where they can afford a ticket, where their planes take off and land on time and your bags arrive at the other end. And right now they're not getting that, and there's some decisions the government can make, not just the Qatar Airways one, but others, that would actually assist with that. So we're looking forward to kicking off on Tuesday.
Swanee, you've been around the corporate world a fair while. Does Qantas need a board clean-out?
Well, there's no question that there are challenges for the board. We had an inquiry into the Commonwealth Bank some years ago which outlined what happens when boards are asleep at the wheel. Customers get fleeced. So there is board responsibility here and accountability, and the regulators ought to be looking deeply at that.
All right. The South Australian Deputy Premier
But
has...
Swanee,
Go on. Bridget, go on quickly.
No, I was just going to say, I thought your question remains unanswered. We've got a Prime Minister with a really close personal and political relationship with Alan Joyce and with Qantas.
Put a sock in it.
It deserves to come clean. He needs to put a distance, Swanee, between him and his Yes flagship carrier.
It's extraordinary you should say that, because you supported what Alan Joyce did. The Labor Party opposed it, including the Prime Minister.
I've been very clear on my views. I've been very clear on my views of the board decision to try and keep $500 million of their customers' money. In fact, it was my questioning that made them do the backflip.
I'm talking about when all those workers were stood down. You were there with Alan Joyce supporting his decisions.
Sorry, Wayne, I'm talking. Wayne, I'm talking. We've got the ACCC decision and this really poor corporate behaviour, and it's time the PM distanced himself from it.
I'm loving this.
That's extraordinary rubbish. I'm
sitting on the sidelines, absolutely loving it. You guys could go for the next couple of hours, I think. Took you a while to fire up. Just finally, this is one we can all agree on. The South Australian Deputy Premier has criticised the government's space funding cuts, including the axing of a $66 million space park precinct and $1.2 billion satellite program. I mean, this is outrageous to get rid of this program. This comes as NASA steps up its investigation into UAP sightings, unidentified aerial phenomenon, otherwise known as UFOs. Wayne, look, tearing up billions.
What planet are you living on, Carl? What planet are you living on?
I'm not sure, but you want to come. You want to come. All sorts of great things happen. Who did you work with in politics that you thought could have been a visitor from a galaxy far, far away? Come on, Swanee.
There's plenty in the current parliament.
Bridget, you?
Oh, that's squibbing at Wayne. Look, I'll have to nominate Bob Katter. He comes from far north Queensland. Wayne worked with him too.
I did. I saw him yesterday and he's in good form.
Special earpiece to understand what he's saying sometimes.
Well, he's my kind of alien, Bob Katter. Good on you guys. Have a good weekend.